Hi loves, I hope you're all doing well. I hope that June treated you well and not too much has been exposed or, broken down with so many more planets motioning retrograde. But let me know in the comments down below what word kind of really summed up June for you. Okay, so obviously the style of this reading is not how I even imagined. Now that, my chart isn't so vigorously activated, I should be able to do normal horoscopes starting next month. So I hope that this podcast style reading is okay for you. So essentially, obviously, we're going to just walk through. I'm going to be walking you through the month of July, touching on the astrology, my own intuitive insights for the month for your personal sign. Check your sun, your moon, and your rising sign. When it comes to the astrology, I feel, well, it depends. I'm not going to tell you what to do. So definitely there is this feeling in July about feeling exposed, right? We're still in eclipse transition season, right? So we're still in this transitional phase as we're wrapping up and finalizing the karmic build-up of Cancer Capricorn while embarking upon the abundant and exuberance of Gemini Sagittarius eclipses, right? So whenever the nodes dealing with fate and karma reach those last few degrees of a sign and the beginning degrees of a sign, this is like potent energy, okay? And it really can give that vibe of exposure. It's like cracking an egg open to reveal the goo inside, right? Once Pandora's box has been opened, it's impossible to, shut it away. After all, you can't uncrack an egg, right? So the planetary vibes for this month. So as we begin, and I like to look at, sunrise and kind of like where the planets are to really get a tone or a notion as to what this month can bring. And July 1st, we have the sun in Cancer pressing up upon, Mercury retrograde, okay? With the moon, the ruler of the sun, okay, the ruler of the chart, really, like the moon is in Scorpio and it's opposing Uranus. So when we're having Scorpio Uranus vibes, this is again a very expository vibe that we're experiencing, right? Mercury is still going to be retrograde until July 12th in the sign of Cancer, and when Mercury is retrograde in the sign of Cancer, we can find ourselves even exposing ourselves, exposing things from the past. Now usually in true Mercury fashion, it happens accidentally. The past gets brought up and then it gets dragged out into the open, and we discover things that we discover something and we kind of are faced with remembering it in a way that actualizes what really actually happened. So words like accountability are really strong for the month of July, especially, when we're looking at Saturn re-emerging back into the sign of Capricorn to join with Pluto and Jupiter for the new moon, okay, that's going to happen at the latter degrees of Cancer towards the end of the month. But Mercury is the messenger, okay? He travels between realms to get you the information that you need, okay? Mercury retrograde in Cancer unveils the part of you that needs to be heard, the part of you that needs to be healed, okay? So Cancer deals with things that, weigh heavy on our hearts. Emotions tend to be heightened, repressed memories resurface. There are memories and themes surrounding that sense of belonging, childhood, and the past, right? The inner child is almost throwing a tantrum with all of this energy and all of this, stuff that is being projected onto Cancer right now as we're wrapping up a big cycle. Things don't go to plan, and it can make you feel like a child again, feeling completely out of control, feeling controlless. And, the thing is, right, we have to remember Mars is in Aries, okay? This is crucial that we remember we can only control ourselves. We do not get to control the way that other people respond to us, our emotions, our actions, our thoughts, our feelings. We don't get to control that, okay? So July really is about owning up and showing up for yourself. It's about listening and hearing what you've not allowed, you've not allowed yourself to hear before. It's about owning all that you are, not just the parts of you that you feel are or will be deemed worthy. July can expose themes around parenthood and acknowledging the parts of us that are not necessarily our own, but have been imprinted upon us with, the generational patterns that are passed on through us from our parents and our grandparents and our great grandparents and those early life experiences, because when a baby comes in, a baby isn't born racist, a baby isn't born with hate in its heart, a baby isn't born selfish, a baby isn't born any of these things. A baby, for the first 7 years of your life, you learn and you imitate and you imprint like a psychic sponge, Cancer sponge, right? You kind of, you take on, the karmas and the stuff of, your parents, because they are your first understanding of the world. And, so it's kind of like your past influence forges who you are, but your responding actions or reactions, that's all you right now, right? Because I'm sure nobody listening to this is a child, right? So nobody is to blame for what you do but you. Okay, so with many planets that are in retrograde this month, okay, we're being forced to look back, way back, and to right and heal the wrongs that have been made and have been done, right? Because Cancer, Capricorn eclipses, they only come about every 18 years. And the cycle is even more significant because we have planets that have been together, they haven't been together for hundreds of years, and now they're coming back in. So it's bringing those karmas from that time period of when they were together last, which is big, which is why big stuff is happening right now. It has to happen. It has to feel uncomfortable. It has to feel these ickiness, right? It has to feel this way, uncomfortable, in order to pave the way for change, right? Because nothing new can be built on something old. You have to destroy it, right? You have to destroy what was once there in order to rebuild. Otherwise you have, you end up with root rot and stuff that will just it's just not good, right? So we can definitely clearly see, looking at the astrology, that there is an imbalance with power dynamics, right? Saturn, when it was in Aquarius, obviously it will enter back into Aquarius permanently in December again. But we, the people are realizing power lies within us all along, right? The people that we elect, into positions of power, fame, and influence are only there because we put them there. With support, with attention, with our money, with purchases. And as quick as we give our time, our energy, and our money, we can decide not to. And the only person that you can control, again, this is a Mars and Aries issue, is you, right? You need to not only speak your standard, but you need to live it. You need to also take action upon it. You can't hide from yourself right now. That is literally impossible with the planetary energy that's going on. And people around you, we're all seeing people for who they really are, and if you live in your authenticity, there's nothing to fear because you're not hiding from the shadow of yourself, right? You're not hiding from yourself. But those who live in the realm of make-believe and are consumed by the external, and there is no judgment. I don't say that with judgment in my heart, not at all. Everything happens for a reason. It's a part of your life experience and your life journey. But living in the Neptunian realms of social media, it can be a time where that mask will slip because literally everything is recorded. Everything, there are receipts, right? There's receipts for everything, and we're going to see an uprise in those receipts when it comes to those things. And a lot of it is bringing the past back up. The past is being resurrected, with that Pluto looking at that new moon, a lot of those things are coming back to the surface. So as I said, okay, July has this element of a continual exposure, and I sense that the information, correspondences and miscommunications are still highly likely for the month of July, but the central vibe is in and surrounding change, okay? Sudden and unexpected, out of the box, shocking stuff coming to light this month. So whatever is revealed, it will alter everything for you. you know. So once you know something, once you learn something, it's like a domino effect in your brain, right? Everything starts to get rewired in a sense. So it can change your home, it can change your family dynamics, it can change your beliefs about someone or something. It can even change or bring about a change in about, you know, your careers or your ambitions as a result of the events that unfold in July. You might discover or learn or explore something that changes things for you. But honestly, like, what I'm seeing is a flip on the script that is your life, be it in love, home, work, or even yourself somehow. But I also have to add that whatever happens is somehow supposed to happen. There's a touch of destiny about it. The nodes are involved, destiny is upon us, right? So I know some of the things that I've already mentioned about July, if you've made it this far into the reading, they can seem a little bit triggering. I only tell you what I see and what I sense, and I assure you that there's a lot here that is aligning you to your purpose this month. Sometimes shocking events need to happen to trigger us into action, to make the change, to move and shake things up. And a lot of what I feel will build, and perhaps it might not even culminate until we get into November this year. But significant things are happening in July to inspire action and change. So, you know, whatever you wanted, you know, you might decide this month that you don't want it anymore. Mercury goes direct, and, you know, so, you know, if you have been making bad choices, falling back into past behaviors, habits, relationships, etc., right? You might, in the second part of this month, discover nothing's actually changed at all. And those old problems, they're all still there. Now, I do have a link in the information box below if you want to check out more about your personal Mercury retrograde transit. But now let's move on to the month of July, right? If you would like me to, you know, look at all of this for you in a personal session, feel free to check out my services. I will also leave a link in the cards and in the information box below. Okay, so Gemini, suns, moons, and rising signs. So for July, there is definitely like your energy is on your future. It's on your dreams. It's all about kind of how you can navigate yourself. You know, it definitely feels like, you know, for the month of July, you're heavily being guided towards your hopes and your dreams. And yet the majority of this month, it feels like, you know, the theme of it, everything that is churning around, feels like it's unexpected, sudden changes. These are things that you don't see coming. It's like one thing after another thing after another thing, right? It's unexpected twists and turns and changes and breaks. And I definitely feel like, you know, as we approach and we move out of this month, you know, you will have a big choice to make when it comes to, you know, the direction that you're going in. So in June, you might have been finding yourself, especially towards the latter part of June, you might have felt yourself kind of really romanticizing the past, feeling very melancholy almost, you know. But what's important to recall and to remember is that you might have been selectively remembering certain events, not seeing the situation in its entirety, and somehow only recalling or remembering the good parts. Now, as we get into July, that completely shifts, right? It's completely shifting because yes, Mercury is still retrograde for half the month, but for the rest of the half, you're really going to kind of come to big realizations about those thoughts and those memories and those past issues and situations. Because what's happening for the month of July is essentially you're in the beginning phases of a whole new life chapter that is opening up for you. This new direction is opening up. This could involve a shift, a dramatic shift when it comes to your beliefs about something. Perhaps this is a life change in the making that is about to kind of be, you know, come to fruition. And it could very well, because I am getting the vibe that it feels to me at least that someone new is coming into your life in some capacity. Now, you might not see this person coming, like it's like they spontaneously come in, okay? However you connect with this person, online, in person, it doesn't really matter, right? There is this sense of mystery and intrigue, and this person was supposed to come into your life right? And as a result of this person, somehow they're inspiring you, or they're triggering you into this new way, this new pathway, this new destiny, right? The North Node Rahu has now approached in kind of pierced into your sign. And for the month of July, it is at those big pivotal degree points. Especially, it's kind of like the beginning of the transit and the end of the transit when it comes to the nodes, because when it hits those first 3 degrees, the 0, 1, 2, 3, and when it's kind of like in those, because obviously the nodes, they move backwards throughout the zodiac, whereas the rest of the planets move in a directional manner. But anyway, what I'm trying to say here is that it feels like someone new is coming into your life in a way to alter it, okay? And I feel like this is everything. It is connected to your future, to destiny. Like, it is connected to that. So yes, I definitely feel like for the month of July, it's a change of direction that you're not going to see coming. It could also be that you suddenly change what it is that you want. That future vision, that goal, that dream of yours is changing, it's altering, it's adjusting. And I definitely feel like you're cutting the ties to your past. Mercury retrograde is fantastic for healing and dealing with past traumas, for setting up and altering your belief system, which ultimately helps you to manifest the things that you want in your life. So I do feel like for many Geminis, suns, moons, and rising signs, that you could be cutting the ties to the past, the people of the past situations, past beliefs. You're cutting ties. Like, I'm seeing like a giant, you know, it's like that thing. I don't know what that thing is. You know what death holds? You know, the angel of death. It holds that. What's it called? Is it a scythe? I don't know what it's called, but that big axey looking thing. That's what I'm seeing, and it's almost like you're just cutting through, right? That's what I'm seeing, like, clairvoyantly. Okay, I'm not saying that there's going to be a death or anything like that, but I feel like you're purging yourself from the past. You're purging yourself from people, places, situations that have no purpose in your future. And it feels like this is a long time coming. This is a long time coming, you know, and you might want to also, just a side note, because I'm seeing lots of snakes as well, you might also want to keep your ideas to yourself. Knowledge is power, after all. Keep your opinions, your thoughts to yourself. And it might also be, again, I'm coming back to this person, but it just feels like a mysterious encounter. You know, it feels mysterious. It feels mysterious, okay? Neptune is retrograde, but I'll talk to you about that in a second. It just feels like something is in line with your destiny. Whoever this person is, it's like it's this person, this spirit, this thing is coming into your life for a very important reason. This could uncover a spiritual talent or gift that you have. It definitely feels like it's bringing information about your destiny. Like, that's what July to me feels like for you. And I do feel like there is a radical change to the way that you're thinking. But don't make hard, fast decisions when Mercury is retrograde. It's your ruling planet. This is about dealing with things related to the past, uncovering, connecting with yourself in a deeper, more powerful way. It isn't about making quick, fast decisions out of a sense of, I feel uncomfortable in this, right? Because if you start kind of blurting and blabbing and reacting with Mars in Aries, okay, you could actually end up heading into danger, right? If you're not paying attention, you know, it can cause harm or unexpected things to happen. But I do definitely feel like you're freeing yourself. There's like liberation. Like, there's liberation to things, right? Mercury is retrograde, okay, right now in the sign of Cancer, right, which is highlighting your values, your family, everything that you gain, you know, everything that you need. What is it that you actually need? Do you actually need these people? If you're not a moon in Cancer, find out where your moon is allocated within the chart, right? Have a look at your birth chart and find out where the moon is allocated if you're not a Gemini moon listening to this, and let me know in the comments down below, and maybe I could I mean, I'm not going to say for everybody, but if I get the time, I will go through, you know, and try and help make sense of that. But it just feels like, to me, with Mercury retrograde in the second house, again, there is a link in the information box if you want to look more about that transit specifically. But it feels to me, because it's also Virgo. It's also Virgo energy, right? So Virgo is 1, 2, 3, 4. It governs over the past values, family matters, things in connection that have been, like, it's rooted in you. So it can definitely indicate, uncovering things to do with the home and the family dynamics, a sense of belonging, reassessing and reevaluating those matters. With Mercury retrograde in the second house, this is never usually a good time to make fast purchases. It's always better to kind of look around before, making big decisions. And then obviously Neptune is retrograde, as I mentioned, and when Neptune is retrograde, it's retrograde in your 10th house. So you're starting to re-examine and rethink, because Neptune now is at a very strong point. Okay, it is technically retrograding, but it is in the final decan of Pisces. It's maturing, it's understanding, where it is that you belong, where it is that you want to go. And it is also connected, Neptune is also governed over by Jupiter, and Jupiter is going to be activated with the new moon. I think it's around the 20th, the 21st of the month, and it is going to highlight, it's going to look at your 8th house, unexpected things coming out of the woodworks, changes, transformations. It's connecting to and looking at Jupiter. Jupiter is the ruler of both your 10th house and your 7th house, of relationships, your one-to-ones, open enemies. It is, your contractual agreements, legal documentation. And obviously the new moon is happening in that second house of things that are very close to you. This is everything that you own. It's everything that is yours, and it's shifting and it's changing that to a certain extent, in connection as well to the 10th house, your status, your contributions to society, your work in the world. But it's also looking at Saturn as well. Saturn is the ruler of your 8th house and your 9th house. That vision for the future is shifting, altering, changing, and it's coming up in a very mystical way. Like, it's uncovering things. It's like drawing things out. It's drawing things out, and you're going to start to now release people, places, things that just don't have any purpose or significance in your life. As well as that, the new moon is also towards the end of the month, around the 20th-ish. It is also going to be an aspect to Pluto. Pluto governs over your 6th house of work and of health. So you want to take care of yourself. You don't want to kind of make matters stressful. Okay, there can definitely be healing with relationships, but I also feel like you're kind of breaking away from the unnecessary drama that, you're not going to get involved with that anymore. You're not going to connect yourself with that anymore. You're not going to fall back into bad habits anymore. You are making a positive change. You are essentially, as the months will begin to unfold, aligning and following your spiritual path. It's kind of like the universe is saying, you are on track with your bigger goals. So I feel like it's important for the month of July that you get very, very clear on your intention. You stay focused, you keep silent, you keep quiet with what it is that you are manifesting and setting intention for. There are going to be significant, unusual, mysterious, almost people coming into your life, and they will have, in some manner of speaking, they will have some impact or unlocking capabilities towards your own inner spiritual sanctum, your own spiritual gifts and talents and abilities, in aid of helping you to align to your path. So you're kind of in this transitional phase where you're aligning to your purpose, you're aligning to your destiny. Things that are happening for a very important reason this month. And it's important that you're not, because I kept seeing snakes, right? Snakes are transformational, okay? And obviously we can relate that to Scorpio. Scorpios have a really hard time trusting, okay? Because of their past experiences, they are the sign that goes through the most metamorphosis. But the thing is with Scorpios don't delete anything. They keep the receipts, okay? They keep everything because they like power, they like control, they like to be in control. They don't like people walking all over them, right? They like, think of it like ice, okay? They're like the iceberg. Okay, if you think about Scorpio as being an iceberg, you only see a certain amount to them, but they are so freaking deep. They are connected to things that you wouldn't even imagine, things that they don't even, you know, exploit out into the world, right? There is some very deep, dark, mystical energy when it comes to Scorpio. And the reason why I'm associating them with snakes is that you want to keep your ideas, Geminis, to yourself. Don't share it with nobody. Don't share it with nobody right now, because your 11th house, okay, has Mars going through it, and Mars is going to be there for the next 6 months, more or less, ish. It's going to be there till January 6th, I believe, of 2021. And because Mars is in that 11th house, what is Mars? Mars in the sign of Aries, he's a fighter, he's a warrior, he's confrontational, he's quick and fast to action, he's reactive. He's not thoughtful or stealthy in his approach. He just blurts stuff out, okay? He cuts and he goes for it and he burns, right? So just be cautious. Don't overshare information. Silence is golden right now. Silence is golden. And know that if you're clear on your intention, you stay focused, when that thing aligns itself, you can pounce on it. You can get it, right? You can achieve your goal this month for sure. So I definitely feel like it's kind of like, it does feel very abundant. It feels like you're getting something that you want, but that vision for the future is beginning to morph and change and shape into something very different, and you will have a choice to make. This choice could be an old choice, a choice that was presented to you, perhaps. I mean, I'm talking about Mercury retrograde as well, because Mercury retrograde in June, and obviously from July 12th, it's going to be treading back over everything else. So you might have a repeating offer come up and you have to decide about that. But know that everything that happens this month is going to alter everything else. So just be cautious. I would say don't make the decision until after the 12th, if you can. So thank you so much. I'm wishing you a fantastic July. Hopefully this works out for you. Let me know in the comments down below. I love to keep updated, and I will see you in another video.